Enter my emails.
This is my first one for the year, so
Mm.
it was you did the last one, right?
Yeah, I did the last
You
one,
got us
but
started for the year. It means it'll be a good year.
oh, okay,
Yeah,
great.
yeah, because checking
Okay.
with your lovely face. And today we have Nicole with us, so
Yeah,
how's your
Hi
weather?
guys.
lovely Nicole.
But it's good to be back and doing these again after the holidays and yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
excited to be here. This is my first one ever.
Oh, is this
Um,
your first one ever?
this is my first one ever. Yeah, so I'm a total newbie.
Oh,
But I'm
wow.
excited to delve into this topic because I feel like it's right up my alley.
Oh, 100%. This is you, Nicole, with a nice, shiny, bright star. You are the star. Yeah.
You're stealing the show tonight.
Oh, that's sweet. We'll see.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's almost 5 o'clock though, so we're almost in our after hours time zone. I'll start with a bit of an introduction and I'll just like get us started for today. So, welcome everyone to our Family Law Now After Hours series. Today we are talking about how to prepare for an initial consultation. I think this is a very useful topic, and we want to make sure that people make the most of their consultation. So today we'll be talking about some ways they can do that. Before we begin, I'll just do some housekeeping before we hit 5 o'clock. The purpose of this series is to discuss general information on separation and divorce and family law matters. Any information that will be provided today should not be considered as legal advice. If there are any questions regarding any specific matters, please call our office or a lawyer in your area to book a consultation to receive tailored advice. If you call our office, you may be speaking to our lovely Nicole Harrison, who is with us here today. And stay tuned until the end. We will be sharing how you can schedule a free initial consultation with one of our lawyers. Now, on to the bios for today. We have Nicole joining us. She is the intake manager at Russell Alexander. She holds 3 diplomas from Durham College in social services, community services, and HR management. Her unique experiences include studying abroad in Guatemala, where she mentored students to create multimedia presentations on Indigenous rights. She also worked as a research assistant on a project supporting parents with disabilities, focusing on trauma, human rights, and early intervention. Through her professional and volunteer work, she remains committed to fostering meaningful connections and empowering individuals to share their voices. We have Jodeen joining us today. She is an articling student at RIA, and she's one of our newest members of the team. Jodeen has already gained valuable experience across both collaborative and litigation files. Her legal journey began at Queen's University, where she honed her advocacy skills through roles at the Neighborhood Legal Services Legal Clinic and the Family Children's Services of Frontenac, Lennox, and Addington. These experiences helped her develop a keen ability to navigate complex legal issues with empathy and insight. Lastly, there is me. I'm a family lawyer with a strong focus on compassionate and effective legal representation. My background is in business management, which enhances my strategic approach to legal matters. I excel in negotiation, achieving settlements through strategic dialogue and strong advocacy for my clients. I do prioritize communication, ensuring that clients are informed and empowered throughout the legal process. Now we are ready to move on to the topic for today, which is preparing for a consultation. And this is a step-by-step process. And the first thing that anyone who is, looking to hire a lawyer, as they are going through separation or they are considering a separation, the first question that they find themselves asking is, do I need a lawyer? Who can be my lawyer? And they want to research, and they need help with picking a lawyer. And this is a big step for people. And Jodeen, I'll give you this, and if you can get us started on what are some of the perhaps tips that you have for people when it comes to researching and picking a lawyer.
For sure. Thanks, Shanza. So I'll just dive right into it. Finding the right lawyer for your family law case or your issue is a really big deal. So whether you're dealing with divorce or separation, parenting arrangements, property issues, or the like, having the right person by your side can make all the difference. So you really want to ensure that this first step is you're putting a lot of time into it, a valuable time into it, because it's important that you choose the right one. So first, you want to ensure before anything that you're seeking a lawyer who is an actual lawyer, so qualified. The individual will have a bachelor's of law, master's of law, and a Juris Doctorate, so a JD, and they need to be licensed in the province. So here we have the Law Society of Ontario, and they have a great website. You can do searches on their website. You can find lawyers that way. So that's one of the options that you can take. You can also do an online search for something like Googling something as simple as family lawyer near me. However, if you do take that step, you should do some more homework. If you want to find the right lawyer, because you're not just trying to find a lawyer, you want to find the right lawyer. So I would suggest checking Google reviews, see what people are saying about the firm, about the lawyers. As mentioned earlier, the Law Society also has on their website jurisdiction, so you can look for lawyers that way in their lawyer directories. And another approach is like just asking around, because divorce didn't get invented or separation didn't get invented when you had to deal with it. People have been through this before, so it's always good to tap into your community, and because they have had the experience, they can give you firsthand information about what you might come across and how they found their lawyer. So, ask around. Another cool way that you could also look for a lawyer is to consider asking trusted professionals like accountants or therapists or real estate agents. So if you're already working with even if you're working with some kind of lawyer, another lawyer that's not a family lawyer, oftentimes, in family law, we work with different professionals, not just other lawyers. So like accountants, therapists, and real estate agents. And so in their professional relationship, they have, gained a wealth of knowledge and work closely with lawyers. And so hearing about their professional experiences can be helpful in informing how you move forward in choosing a lawyer. So, yeah, it's important also when you're looking for a lawyer in a family law issue to find a lawyer that specializes in family law. Because although lawyers have the ability to practice and help you on an array of legal issues, it is important that you find someone that specializes, because the procedures that are involved in various areas of law, and in this instance, family law, is very particular to that area. And so you need someone who's well versed in it so that they can help you through it. Now, the other thing that I would say about that is don't take for granted that when you're looking for a lawyer, you want to find someone that you click with. It's important because even though you might find someone that may work well, you're sharing a lot of intimate details of your life with this individual. It's an emotional time. It's difficult. Divorce and separation is hard. So it needs to be someone that you connect with and someone who you feel that you can be open and honest with.
Thanks,
Thank
Jodeen.
you.
I like how you made the distinction between finding a lawyer versus finding the lawyer for you, right?
Yeah.
You want to find someone who's qualified, but also you want to make sure that you are with a lawyer you feel comfortable with and someone you are confident in their ability to represent you. And sometimes people will have a consultation with a lawyer and they won't feel that, and that's perfectly fine. You do want to find a lawyer that you think, is the best fit for you. And sometimes that could look like maybe doing multiple consultations, right? But you want to be confident in their ability to represent you and to advocate for you and on your behalf and for the interests that you are seeking as you go through your separation and divorce. Um, we have an audience question come in asking if hiring a lawyer is necessary if you are amicable. And I will say yes. A lawyer can help you understand your rights and your responsibilities. And they ensure that you're not missing out any important details that could impact you later. Even if you're amicable, you do need the proper guidance on the best way to go through the separation process and to make sure that the agreement that you are entering into is legally sound and something that is valid going forward to give you that peace of mind that you have entered into an agreement that will not be later deemed invalid just because you did not go through the proper process or you agreed to terms that you did not have the ability to agree to because they're against the law, for example. So you do want to make sure you're speaking to a lawyer. I mean, if you are amicable, then this will make the process even smoother, and that's perfect. That's great. That's amazing, right? And in case things take a turn, having a lawyer on your side can give you that peace of mind knowing that you are in safe hands. Um, and Nicole, I will come to you. I know you're the intake expert here. Once the lawyer is chosen, as we've just been talking about, the next step naturally is to speak to them and to book that consultation. What do you see when you have people reaching out to you to book the consultation? How does that process work?
Yeah, great question. So it's different for everybody. I would say there's a lot of different methods of how individuals contact us. They might contact us through email, most typically is a phone call. We also have like a web form online. So there's many different ways that people contact us. But once you get in touch with the firm, the first step, you're going to be in touch with an intake specialist. So it's either going to be myself, Jacqueline, or Kara. And the intake specialists are trained to be able to show that empathy and understand so many different types of situations. Of course, some situations are more unique than others, but we listen to all of your concerns and your situation, and then we're going to pair you with one of the lawyers on the team for that consultation based on what you've shared. So in a situation where maybe you and your partner are amicable, we might pair you with a consultation lawyer that is collaboratively trained. And that way they can explain the collaborative process to you and kind of outline the more amicable route. If your matter is very high conflict and there's a lot of disagreement between you and the other party, we might recommend that you have a consultation with one of the lawyers that specializes in litigation, and they might be able to provide more insight in that sense. So it's really catered to your situation. We want to make sure that you're getting the most out of the meeting and that all your questions are being answered. So typically the first step after you reach out to us and we gather some information, we are going to send you an intake form if you'd like to move forward. We use a software called Supio. It's very user-friendly. You can use your phone to fill it out or a computer. You will receive it almost instantly after providing an intake specialist with your email address. Once you complete the form, you'll get a copy and we'll get a copy. So you can retain yours for your records, and then we'll have one on our end as well. It typically takes maybe 5 minutes to fill out the intake form. It's very generic information. Often we get asked if we'll reach out to the other party to let them know that you've reached out to us. We would never do that, not without your consent, of course. The purpose of the intake form is to gather some information. The lawyers need to have a bit of a comprehensive understanding of your situation prior to meeting with you. So they want to look at this intake form. They want to see kind of what your situation is and how they can best support you so that they come into that consultation ready to go, ready to answer your questions, and prepared with any extra resources that they'd like to provide you throughout the consultation. So once your intake form is completed, it's going to come back to us. Typically about between 10 to 15 minutes after it's completed, you're going to get a call from the intake specialist. They'll ask you if you'd prefer to meet over telephone or Zoom. We don't do in-person consultations. We do find that virtual meetings are just as productive and confidential as in-person meetings. And it's also more convenient, especially during uncertain times, and flexible. We have had some clients in the past who are working 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. It's hard for them to take time off work. So they'll use their lunch break to go into their car and do the consultation. We can offer that flexibility by doing remote consultations. So that's definitely been a benefit. The consultation, there is a fee. It is $300. We accept it over credit card or e-transfer. And really the fee is a reflection of the expertise and the experience that the lawyers bring to the table. The initial investment can significantly influence the positive outcome of your case. When you're paying for something up front, you're ensuring that you're going to be getting that top quality service, and that the lawyer's taking their time out of their day to ensure that they can provide full focus onto you and to your matter and your situation. So after the day is scheduled and the time scheduled, you'll receive confirmation via email. And then on the day of your appointment, you'll receive a reminder and you'll be on your way. You'll have that time and day secured, and the lawyer will either call you or meet with you on Zoom.
Thank you, Nicole. That was I did not know this much about the intake process, so this is very enlightening even for me. You mentioned the intake form, where we seek generic information from potential clients, and that's something on my end I always review before the call, which leads to the next important step in preparing for your consultation with a family lawyer, which is organizing your financial documents, because even this intake form is going to ask you questions for which you do want access to some financial documents. And as the lawyer, if it's me or someone else doing the consultation, we use this information to speak to you during the consultation. And so we can properly guide you on whatever information that you're seeking help with as part of the consultation. So this is a crucial part of your case because like having access to this information, because as part of your separation, your lawyer will be guiding you on the division of assets, which is something that you have to do under Canadian law, calculation of support, if there are child support or spousal support issues, and even sometimes for parenting decisions, which can often depend on the financial situation of the parties. So you want to come prepared with some basic information on your finances that you can share with your lawyer, so that we can properly guide you as we go through the consultation. And when I say gather your financial documents, this includes gathering information as much as you have access to, obviously, on income, for both you and your partner. And this can mean, do you have access to pay stubs? Do you have tax returns? Or any other documentation that shows if you have a business, so then we're looking at business records. So any information that can show what you earn. It's good to have that information as the lawyer to get a general picture of your financial capacity, which is particularly important when it comes to calculating support obligations. Having some information on your assets is also quite helpful to the lawyer. The goal is to have an inventory of everything that will need to be considered in the division of assets. Since consultations generally are, big picture advice, during the consultation, you will get an overview of the property division laws. And if you have information on the type of assets that you own, then that can really guide the consultation and make it more tailored and specific to you, if your lawyer do have access to that information when you book the initial consultation. And for assets, we're talking about real estate, bank balances, retirement accounts, pension, any investments or property that you or your spouse may own. And don't forget about debts, and know what your loans are. Know the mortgage information if you have it, credit card statements, and other liabilities that you may have, because your debts are also factored into your net family property value for the property division exercise under the law. So it's important to have these records on hand, and be able to provide that information to the lawyer who is doing your consultation. Also have a breakdown of your expenses if that's possible, a general idea of your living expenses and anything else that is a part of your regular financial obligations. This will help your lawyer understand your financial needs and your responsibilities, which will play a role in any support discussions. Are we looking at potential spousal support that needs to be paid from you? Or are you entitled to any potential spousal support from your ex-spouse? Again, as you hire the lawyer, they will even help you with these calculations. We work with our clients to complete their financial statement form, and we're kind of there to assist you in breaking down those numbers to understand your financial situation, especially post-separation. The finances change a lot, so your lawyer can kind of guide you through all of that. In family law, the focus is on getting you the support and helping the clients adjust to these new dynamics, and you're not alone. Sometimes these numbers can be a lot for people, so you will be working with your lawyer every step of the way to help you understand, what your current financial situation is and what is it looking like down the road as you go through your separation and your divorce. Okay, Nicole, I'm going to come back to you. In addition to gathering these documents, everything that I just talked about, I think another thing that people do is list down their concerns and questions, right? So
Mhm.
I think that's something that is typically very helpful for people to be prepared. Can you speak more on that?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. We do have clients that will find it helpful for them to organize their thoughts into whether it's a sheet of paper or the note section on their phone. They want to organize their thoughts and their questions, and we encourage that. We want you to come prepared to the consultation with any questions that you have, so that you can leave the consultation afterwards feeling relieved, feeling knowledgeable, and feeling more confident in yourself and your case. So we always encourage clients to write down any concerns that they might have, any questions, any inquiries. Even if you feel like it might not apply to you, still ask those questions. And if you can create like a high level understanding of what your goals or objectives might be, that's really helpful as well. We typically have very common questions that we see past the consultation stage, but some questions that like you might want to consider could be child related. So like, do you feel your children might benefit from support or evaluation by a psychologist or therapist? Would a custody evaluator, child's advocate help? Are you interested in exploring out of court settlements or mediation? You might also want to ask if your family would benefit from the support of a mental health professional, or if there's domestic violence supports at all. You might also want to consider wills and estate planning. So updating estate documents as a part of your case. And then if you could suspect anything like infidelity, hidden assets, substance abuse, that may require like professional investigation. These are all things that you can include in that question sheet that you prepare. So you really are getting the most out of that consultation.
100%. And I noticed that sometimes people they find these calls overwhelming. So it's good to have
Mm-hmm.
something to refer back to. I know I have
Mm-hmm.
clients, they're like, oh, like I don't know what I wanted to ask. And I'm like, take your time, like take a minute. Like if you have a list, go through your list and I'm here to
Mm-hmm.
like answer your questions. So it's really helpful for people to kind of refer, have a piece of paper or a list of questions they can refer back to. Because I know like we're all human, like they're going through a difficult time. So it's very normal to feel overwhelmed. So it's really helpful kind of writing down any specific concerns that you have and have something to refer to as you go through the call. Um,
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of the time too, we have clients call with a family member beside them or a friend, like a support person or a friend beside them as well. Sometimes in these moments of so much distress, it's hard to even come up with the words that you want to say. So to have a support person there with you makes a world of a difference.
And I know sometimes you email back, Nicole, and you're like, there's another follow-up question the client forgot to ask.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
yeah,
send it my way.
yeah, yeah. We always appreciate that.
No problem. So I talked earlier about gathering financial documents. Something else that we really need from our clients to assist the to do the consultation call is relationship history. It guides so much of your claims under family law, what the family dynamics was as you were married and post separation. So we need that information to understand your case. So when you are preparing for your consultation, one of the things that you can do is to summarize the history of your relationship. And you can start by noting down important dates. That is when you got married, your date of marriage, when you started cohabiting, you want to have that date written down, when you separated, and any other major milestones in the relationship. It's a great idea to list down those dates and come prepared to the consultation. I know we have the intake form that asks for this information, but even if you don't have an intake form to refer to, it's a good idea to write these dates down for your lawyer because they will need this information to properly guide you with your family law issues. And so we will use these dates to determine what you are owed or what you may owe to your spouse under the property division laws and also support obligations. And I know I said this earlier too, property division laws. So in Ontario, this refers to the equalization of net family property, which means that any increase in assets during the marriage is shared fairly between both parties. And this includes your assets like your family home, a matrimonial home, retirement savings, or any other significant properties that you have. And this will determine what, if any, equalization payment is owed. And again, this is while you were married. So your date of marriage and your date of separation really comes into play when it comes to determining what these values are. Um, and sometimes we may be looking at a very short relationship that are way less than 5 years or even shorter, maybe a 1 year marriage. So there may be arguments for unequal division. So it's really important to have this information that you can provide to your lawyer to guide the consultation, and so they can tell you about potential laws that apply to your situation specifically. And as you provide the relationship history, think about key issues that have come up during the relationship. Has there been any instances of financial difficulties, domestic issues, domestic abuse, conflicts over parenting? So you do want to have all that information. Make a note of any events or any circumstances that you think has happened in the past or may happen in the future that may impact your case. Again, this will help your lawyer properly guide you. It will help them understand exactly the context of your situation, and they will be able to provide you more tailored advice onto your specific history. Remember that the goal here isn't to get into every single detail of your relationship, because these consultations are, an hour. There's only so much that you can go into. So it's a great idea to try to focus on the aspects that are more important. Whether we're dealing with parenting time, division of properties, or spousal support, your relationship history, and the relevant information that we need. As a lawyer, I do like try to guide the people too in terms of what information that I need from them. But it's also a good idea as the client, that we are working with like a limited time. So it's good to focus on the more important aspects or the more important information so that we can make sure that we're getting to all the important bits during the consultation. Again, the consultation itself is a big picture advice. So once you have retained a lawyer, then you have a lot more time to go into a lot more details about your relationship history, because the lawyer does need that information. But the consultation itself, you do want to give them a big picture overview of your situation. And then as you retain the lawyer, they can go into a lot more details with you in regards to everything that has happened or what issues are there that you need help with.
Mhm.
Okay, Jodeen, I'll come back
Yeah.
to you. Can you talk? I know Nicole kind of mentioned, asking questions, and she also mentioned goals
Mhm.
that people aim to achieve. So if you can
Mhm.
talk a bit more about the importance of understanding your goals for people when it comes to consultations.
For sure. I also think that you touched on this a bit as well. I think they all kind of bleed into each other. And the main point is really just to provide as much information and relevant information as possible, so that you can make the most out of your consultation. And I think the key word there is relevant because, as Shanza said, this is a big picture exercise. So it's important to be able to identify what those big picture goals are. So a good way to begin is to sit down, write out what you hope to achieve, both short term and long term. Be honest with yourself. In this initial process, I would say don't overthink it. Just write it down. This is just a starting point. So once you've outlined all of that, then you review it. You can review it by yourself with a confidant, a trusted friend. And that refined list of goals would be what you take to your lawyer or the consultation. So these goals will be the foundation of how your lawyer or you would move forward on your matter, so that when you meet with your lawyer, they will take this information to help you refine and prioritize your goal. This process allows the lawyer to really have a better understanding of your case and inform you about what next steps you could potentially take. So it could be, as Nicole mentioned, if if it's a high conflict situation, definitely collaborative would not be for you. If it's more amicable, you could consider some alternative dispute resolution processes. But all that information will come out of what you give the lawyer in the initial consult. So, some tips for setting goals would be like, make sure that you're setting reasonable expectations. Be practical about what you want to achieve. So, setting unrealistic goals, or trying to seek vengeance or be vindictive, is never going to lead you to resolution. So we understand work as we're giving you information and helping you through this process that is very difficult, extremely emotional, and there could be a lot of resentment going on. However, in order to that's why it's important to have the big picture goals so that you can always ground yourself and remember what it is that you are aiming to focus on. So yeah, stay focused. And some of those big picture goals could be ensuring that you're will typically be that ensuring that your children are well taken care of, and that they maintain a positive relationship with both parents. It could be addressing financial challenges, as maybe now you and your ex are in a position where you have to manage two separate households, and you were pooling your finances together, and now that's all changed. So there's a lot of difficulty that can come with that. And it's important to accept that it's not you might not get everything that you want. As I said, that this is key to reaching resolution. There's going to be a lot of give and take, but if you maintain your big picture goals, that will help steer you, guide you toward the outcome that you desire. So yeah, clarify your goals early on. It will help you and your lawyer create a plan that aligns with your priorities. Whether you're pursuing a collaborative process or preparing for court, it's important to stay focused on your outcomes, because so that you can achieve the ones that matter to you most will help you move forward with confidence. And remember, this is a journey towards resolution. I think that's really important.
That's very helpful, Jodeen. I notice, like, even with my clients, sometimes I feel like we're getting off track. It's always a good reminder to refer back to the goals, and that can really guide you back back on track. Because having those goals listed down, because sometimes you get too focused on the little details, but you just need to refer back to the bigger picture goals to really get back on track and, you know, make sure you're focusing on your priorities and not the little issues that will definitely come up as you go through this process. Um, Another major part of family law is parenting issues. If you have children and you are going through a separation, parenting time and decision making is a priority for a lot of clients, and for good reason. So if children are involved in your separation or divorce, um, for your consultation, we would like you to come prepared with any relevant parenting information. Your lawyer will need this information to guide the discussions on parenting time and decision making and child support. So you want to start, so when you come to the consultation, you want to start gathering details about your children's current living arrangements, their school schedules, any specific needs that they may have. This will help provide a full picture to the lawyer of their needs and their daily lives. If there is an existing parenting plan or agreement, be sure to provide that information for the lawyer as well. Your lawyer will need to understand what the current arrangements are, especially if there are issues with enforcement, or you're requesting a change to a current parenting plan. Then it's helpful to have the court order or the agreement that you've been kind of basing the current arrangement on. And think about questions like, what is the current parenting schedule? You want to think about how involved both parents are in the day-to-day care and what conflicts are occurring over decision making and parenting time, such as, decisions about their health or education. And what are the specific concerns that you have that are affecting your decision making or that are affecting, the parenting plan? Do you have concerns about the other parent's ability to care for the children? What exactly is the basis for you for seeking certain parenting arrangements? Is a distance a problem? We want to know all this information to be able to properly guide you. So let's say you are seeking sole decision making. If I'm doing the consultation, I want to know the basis for seeking that. So I can, understand those reasons and I can guide you properly as to, what the law says, or, is there a good basis to seek that order, and what could potentially be in order a decision we might be looking at depending on the circumstances of your case. So it's good to have all the information from you to be able to guide you properly, as you go through this process. Um, and people have different circumstances that they're dealing with. There might be someone who's trying to, when you're booking the consultation, it could be that you are still living in the same house, or it could be, and you are potentially moving out, and you want to know, how to deal with parenting before you make that move. I have some people who come in after they've made the move, and now they want to know, I've moved out, the current parenting agreement that we thought would work is not working. So everyone has completely different circumstances that they come to you with. We just want to know all the information so we can properly guide you. Sometimes people they want to relocate to a different city, maybe with the children, without the children. So you want to make sure you're speaking to a lawyer before you make these big decisions, because there are clear laws outlining, what relocation laws are in Ontario. So you want to make sure you're speaking to a lawyer before you're making these big decisions, and you want to know what, if any, impact is going to be on your parenting time before you make that move, for example. Okay, so that's my little tidbit on parenting. Nicole, I am back to you. We've talked about financial disclosure, we've talked about relationship history, parenting information. What we haven't talked about is gathering legal documents. What are these documents that people should have handy for the consultation? Can you talk more about that?
Yeah, I really like the points that you were talking about, Shanza. Um, the point specifically of speaking to the lawyer prior to making big decisions. Oftentimes we have people call in and say like, uh, we decided we're going to divorce. Should I leave the house? And as an intake specialist, I can't say yes or no. I can't give you that advice, but typically we can get clients in the same day for a consultation. So in those moments where it requires a really big decision, definitely reach out to the team. The intake team is excellent at accommodating our clients' needs, whether it's same day appointment, an after hours appointment, an appointment in 15 minutes. I know Shanza has jumped on with very short notice to have a consultation with our clients. So we can certainly accommodate any urgent requests as well. But in terms of legal documents, we do have clients that will share documents with us prior to their meeting. They'd like us to attach it to their appointment to provide it to the lawyer to review either prior or during the consultation. So some documents that we've seen, typically marriage contracts or prenuptial agreements is common. Any prior court orders, cohabitation agreements, parenting plans, those are all excellent resources for the lawyer to review during the consultation, to have an understanding of your situation. It is important to note, though, that the lawyer cannot provide independent legal advice or sign off on any documents during the consultation. So if you need a lawyer to sign off on, say, a marriage contract that was prepared by another lawyer, you would have to retain the firm in order to have that service done. But some other legal documents that we would recommend having, like if there's an estate inheritance, if you've been served any documents, any dates of upcoming court matters, and in terms of the court matters as well, it's helpful to know the location, the date and time, as well as if the hearing is in person or virtual. That helps us assign the right lawyer to you for the consultation. And also criminal charges. So if you've been charged with something, say a DUI or domestic, you can share that with our lawyers as well. We do have a lawyer on the team that does practice criminal as well as family law. So we're able to assist kind of in both aspects there as well. Sometimes they go hand in hand, unfortunately. So it's important to disclose that information so that we can ensure we're servicing you the absolute best we can.
Thanks, Nicole. And because the consultation is big picture advice, we might not be able to, like the lawyer who's doing your consultation might not be able to review all the documents in more details, but that's perfectly fine. Once you have retained the lawyer, then they will be the one who will be doing a more thorough review of your documents. So, but it's good to have the information even as the IC lawyer, just so if something is there in those documents that we are talking about during the consultation, it's good to have the document to refer to. But then your lawyer who has retained you is the one who will go into a lot more detailed review of these documents and assist you. For example, if you do have a draft of a separation agreement that needs to be reviewed and signed, then the lawyer
Mhm.
that you end up retaining will be the one who will review that document with you, and help you with your rights and responsibilities, and make sure that you are understanding what the document says and if there are any changes that you need. So you will work through with your lawyer to go through that whole process to have that document reviewed and signed. Um, Now let's
I
switch gears a
Oh,
little. Oh,
sorry. I just
sorry.
wanted to add that it's also pretty important if there are court documents that you have for when there are upcoming court dates, because your lawyers are gonna the IC lawyer will definitely need to know that, so that if you do decide to retain a lawyer, they can tell that lawyer that there's something on the horizon
In
very
two
quick.
weeks.
Tomorrow. No.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's important to provide those documents, because there's a lot of dates and procedures that need to be noted when we're doing family law. So yeah.
Mhm.
That's a great point, Jodeen. We want to know those deadlines beforehand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty, now let's switch gears. Jodeen, you talked, so I'm gonna keep the spotlight on you. We're
For
gonna
sure.
switch gears, and I'm gonna ask you, why you think honesty is crucial when preparing for your consultation with a family lawyer. What are your thoughts on that? I think that's something that should definitely be hit on. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And I think even to my point that I just made, just be as honest as you can be. Um, uh, when you're working with a family lawyer, at the end of the day, that person is your advocate. That person is representing you. So they need to know you in order to represent you, and they need to know what it is your stances are, and your position is on certain issues, whether it's property, parenting, support, whatever. That will enable them to, as Shanza mentioned earlier, strategize and craft a plan that is suitable for you. So that lawyer, you can think of your lawyer kind of like your teammate. So after you've taken the time to really choose that teammate, that makes you feel confident, it's worth being candid with them. It saves a lot of headache down the line, because it helps you get
So
the best
sorry.
out that's okay, the best outcome as possible for you and your family, because say you didn't mention a critical point, like mm, maybe technically you're still married to someone else. I don't know, but that's important. That's an important fact that will change the trajectory of your file. So this honesty will allow the lawyer to give the client a competent opinion based on the information and the relevant facts, um, and the applicable laws, including and not limited to the lawyer's own experience with these things, um, to so that you can get the best out of this. That lawyer-client relationship is so key, so key in ensuring that you get the best result possible. Because even if you have an amazing lawyer, if your lawyer does not have sufficient information about your matter, and you're not being open and honest with them, there's only so much they can do. We're not magicians. So it's important to be candid and to be honest. And if you're ever in doubt about that relationship with your lawyer, that is something you have the ability to end. Whereas our responsibility as lawyers is to advocate for you as best as possible. So always ensure that you feel that the lawyer is acting in your best interest, that you uh, that they're acting with integrity. And it's important that you come with openness and honesty, so that the lawyer is able to do those things. Because without that kind of information, we're really just floating in the dark there. and that's where no one wants to be. So that's my
Yeah.
advice.
If I could build off that too, Jodeen, I think it's really important that the trust and honesty is both ways, like it's reciprocal. I think it's really important that our clients as well can trust their lawyer and trust that we're going to give them the absolute best advice and provide them with all of the different options that they have. And we're not sugarcoating things, even if it's hard to say, um, that might not work out in their favor. That's one thing I admire about the lawyers here at the firm is they're not going to sugarcoat it. They're going to be honest and truthful with you as well as a client. So it goes both ways. Sometimes it's not easy, but honesty is key.
Sorry, I just wanted to correct one thing that I said. Thank you, Nicole. The guiding principle in family law is always that we're working in the best interests of the child. So sometimes you may want something as a client, but if it's not going to be in the best interests of the child, that's something that you and your lawyer will need to discuss. So yeah, I just wanted to ensure that you know that lawyers are going to try to advocate for you, but there is a limit to what we are able to do because we have a guiding principle.
Thank you, Nicole and Jodeen. That was very, very helpful and insightful. And as you both said, as a lawyer, we want to know facts in favor of you, but we definitely want to know the facts that are not in favor, just so as a lawyer, we can properly advocate for you. And Jodeen, 100%, best interest of the child is the guiding principle. Sometimes I have clients come up to me and they want something which potentially could not be in the best interest of the child. And I always tell them the deciding factor is the children. So I would rather we want to be honest with our clients, and we want them to disclose all the information to us too, so we can properly guide them through their matters. Last thing we want to talk about
Again.
today is taking notes during your consultation. And Jodeen, back to you. Can you give us some closing remarks on taking notes?
Sure.
Yes, go ahead. Thank you.
Thanks, Shanza. I forgot that I was gonna talk again. Um, so I think we kind of touched on this throughout the discussion. We've been talking about uh, making notes of questions, setting down your goals. I think this is all a part of those tips and topics that we spoke about earlier. So there's going to be a lot of information thrown at you. And of course, you're going to have all those responses to your questions. And a lot of this might be new to you. It's likely that a lot of this is new to you. A lot of words that are going to be thrown around that you might not be familiar with. So it's important to take notes for to enable you to look back on, to review, to understand what you discussed or bring it to the next meeting or have a record of the discussion to maybe address any misunderstandings. All those things are important because sometimes these concepts are quite complicated. And there can be a lot of numbers being thrown around. So until you are familiar with the ins and outs of your case, your matter, it's important to definitely make notes because we're only human. We can't keep everything in our heads. It's important to make notes. You can refer back to them. You can ask develop questions that you're going to ask. You can make notes of next steps. Maybe your lawyer might give you some instructions. Maybe you need to gather some information that you didn't produce initially. That's important. And it can also just give you more peace of mind because you have those things to look back on. You have those notes to look back on. So another reason why detailed notes can be important is because they this can also allow you to you can give these notes like to your lawyer. So you don't have the words in the moment. You could just be like, I thought of this in the middle of the night. I'm sending it to you. So yeah, all of those things, I think it's important that it's really for you so that you can better understand and that you can feel like not feel like, but also have more control and more autonomy and more, feel empowered in this process because sometimes it can be so overwhelming. It can be so discouraging. But you look back on your goals and you remember what your big picture goals are, So yeah, I think that's why it's important, Shanza. Anything you want to add?
No, no, you're 100% right. It's good to have something to refer back to if you're making notes during the call. Like you said, we are probably telling you a lot of information that you have not heard before. So, making notes is a good exercise. And even like personally, every time I talk to my clients, I try to send them a summary email after the call, just so, they have that email, they have something written down, because I know we're talking about a lot of things over the phone. So it's best to give them something in writing, just so we can make sure everyone is on the same page and my clients have something to, something written down that they can refer to if there's any confusion or, if they have any follow-up questions that they want to ask me. So I always try to send them something, and I always encourage my clients to make notes as well during the calls, just so they have that information written down. And a lot of times, like questions pop up after the call, so writing something down can even be helpful with that. All right, well, this is the end. Thank you for our audience for tuning into the Family Law Now. Following the session, a brief survey will appear, which will allow you to share your comments and suggestions for future topics that you would like us to explore. Your feedback is greatly appreciated. You will also be receiving some show notes after this session. And as part of the show notes, you will receive our new ebook, which is 10 Points Divorce Preparation Checklist, which just came out, and we will be sending you that as part of the show notes. You can book a complimentary consultation with one of our lawyers. You can contact our intake department at intake@russellalexander.com, and you can provide them with the code Nicole 2025 to schedule your appointment. Thank you so much, Jodeen and Nicole, for joining us today and for sharing all your amazing insights. Registration is now also open for our next event. You just need to go to russellalexander.com/familylawnow, and you will find information about our upcoming events on the website. Thank you again to our panelists for sharing your insights, and thank you to all our audience for tuning in tonight.